So that course is Fantasy Faces, and the idea for that one came about. I had been the head of an arts camp up in Connecticut, and we had done something similar with Fantasy Faces, and then even when I was at Myrtle Grove Middle School, we did a huge series on Archamboldo. And he's one of my all-time favorite artists because his talent is so amazing. But I looked back and I explained to students that he is just about the father of surrealism, because during that time period, you would have not heard about artists taking different parts of either like almost like an animal or something, and then or part of nature, and then turning that into a face. And I explained to my students, I said that even though he was working for a king, well, if a king didn't like your art back then, you would be in big trouble. So we also had to appreciate the art history at that time, because the king that was actually in charge of his work loved him. And so Archamboldo became very successful, and they've actually referenced back to him now. Like when you look at surrealism, they recognize that Archamboldo was that first figure, that first artist that really pushed art to a new level of almost fantasy. And so when we do these Fantasy Faces, we're going to be looking at Archamboldo, and then even Leonardo da Vinci, because he was an artist who actually took faces and kind of exaggerated them to a point of making them grotesque. And so I want students to be able to be creative enough with these. It's not going to be one set way to make them. We're going to look at these two artists, and we're going to think about, like, you know, what would be a really neat way to make this fantasy? Do I want to incorporate nature? Do I want to incorporate animals within the face? And I've had a blast making these, so I know students really enjoy them. I've seen several groups between the middle schools that I've worked with and the summer camps. They really seem to like this one.